Hey there everyone, this is Joe in general, your resident reason and evidence enthusiast. It's your weekly Bitcoin price analysis update. It is Thursday, the 3rd of August, 2017. If my voice sounds a little croaky, that's because it is. I'm a little bit run down. Basically, last weekend I had a massive weekend. I had a gig on Friday night doing all that sort of rock cover, very high in my vocal range stuff. And then I got to bed at like 3:30, got up at 7, flew interstate for another gig, a corporate thing, and then we had a little bit of fun afterwards, and so felt a little bit worse for wear on the Sunday, and then I just started coming down with something, so a little bit croaky, a little bit fluey, but that's why I didn't make the video yesterday, because I didn't have as much of a voice as I do have today. So I will try and keep this video pretty brief for my benefit, but also for your benefit, because I don't like to make them too long. But what I will be talking about today, obviously I'll do a quick recap on where we were last week, obviously show you where we are today. You guys are already looking at the price yourself, I'm sure. Talk about where we might be going, and also briefly talk about what the fork happened. Talk about the fork. And we'll talk about Bcash, Bitcoin Cash. So this is where we were, coming off that low of 1830, and we had that massive run up to 2940, and we came back down to here to the 61.8% mark, which is the exponential Fibonacci calculation from this high and this low here. So I talked about where we could potentially go down to, all the sort of different circumstances. Just check out this previous video. It's the one from last week, entitled BTC and Dent ICO. Interestingly enough, I didn't give it a fancy name like Holy Moly 2940 or Quick and the Dead. I just called it BTC and Dent ICO. And it's had like half the views that my videos normally get. But, if you want to check out that one, I did go into briefly about the Dent ICO, which has now actually finished. But anyway, so this is where, as I said, where we were, and this is where we are right now. Of course, we're using the bitcoinwisdom.com website. It's the Bitstamp exchange, and it's priced in US dollars, currently hovering at $2,738 right now in US dollars. We have neither seen a really large price rise or a really large price dip. So we're kind of hanging in limbo right now. Some people were calling for either a very large price rise straight after the fork happened, or even some people were saying, be prepared for a dip, because people might be, selling out of their altcoins to get into Bitcoin, which may see the price rise a bit, get their Bitcoin Cash, and then buy some more Bitcoin with their Bitcoin Cash, and then start buying back the altcoins, which may see, a large dip. But we had a bit of a dip here. We did come back up to this 2940 mark, but we've only dipped down to the 76.4% level here again from this calculation of this high and this low, and we only bottomed out at about 2630 roughly so far, so that's pretty good. Now it does look like here, if I pop into maybe the 12-hour, it does look like we've posted a double top, but I don't think this is going to have the traditional double top scenario where we do see a very large a price dip from here. I don't think it's going to be that kind of double top. I think it was just because of this, the price rise again, because people selling their altcoins, and we did have a large altcoin dip, and that seemed to be, as I said, people selling out of some of their altcoins to get more Bitcoin Cash, and then buy more Bitcoin. A little bit of a tongue twister. But as I said, this is where we are right now, and we're just in this nice little holding pattern. I think definitely coming soon. We've got some larger prices coming. I definitely think very, very soon we're going to break through this the top end of this trend channel line here, this line I've been mentioning many times before. Looks like, and that has come back, this one here, so we're going to break through there. We have broken through but come back down, but interestingly, I put this trend line back in play here, and I'll just zoom back out, and it's this one right here. When we had this dip down to 1850, this was in May of this year, we started this new trend line, and we've seen a pattern of some higher lows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and one right here, 5. And so I drew in this trend line here, because see, that's pretty interesting. They all seem to fall along that line right there. And now it seems like this line is becoming a slight resistance point, but it happens to coincide with this high here of 29.38. So obviously we want to break, and I'm pretty sure we're going to break through that very soon. This will probably be a tiny little bit of a resistance, but this point right here might be a little bit of a resistance. But if it does break through this 29.40, you're going to see a test of 29.80 real quick. And I don't think really this is going to be in play too much, because we're just going to be in uncharted territory. So I do think the bias is certainly to the upside. But of course, if we do break down, I've mentioned this a number of times before, and I do think these exponential Fibonacci lines are still in play from this high and this low. So we'll keep to those at the moment. So you've got this key level here of 61.8, which is that about 2,450, 60, roughly right there. We don't want to see it go too much further down than, well, definitely we don't want to see it go too much further down past this 23.6 level. But if it starts to hit this 38.2, that's when you start. I wouldn't be too worried, but if it breaks down through here, that's when I'd start to get a little bit concerned, but I don't think that's happening now. I think we're in a nice little pattern here of higher highs and higher lows. And if we pull this out, and let's see if I get my little thing here and take that off there. Let's do that. So many lines, holy moly, so many lines. Looks like that's just gobbledygook right now, but it's kind of forming, if you can see it. Look at all those lines. This is crazy. I'll have to get rid of a few of these, but you can see it's sort of like a rising flag right here. So you are seeing, this resistance point here of 29.40 and some pattern of higher lows. So looks like we are coming to an inflection point coming very, very shortly. Most of the time, the decision gets made before the apex right here. So it's kind of, the decision tends to get made round about sort of here before, like right to the 11th hour. But we are certainly, I think, going to see some higher prices coming very shortly. And where we're going from here, once we pass through that all-time high of 29.80, I've mentioned a number of times, but just do check out this video, 4,083 I do see. I'll put a link to that. So what the fork happened, we had the fork, and we have a new Bitcoin. Now, I think quite correctly, other people have been calling not to call this Bitcoin. Hey guys, don't call it Bitcoin Cash. Let's call it Bcash to sort of delineate it to separate it from Bitcoin. So I'm going to jump on that bandwagon because I personally do think this is the one and only Bitcoin. And for the moment, this is its, it's its little cousin. So it's Bcash bro. So I'm going to call it Bcash from now on. But we did have a nice little rise. Now, I didn't make a video about this, and I didn't say this publicly actually to anyone, so it's all in my own head. But I'm sure many of you did the same thing. And when you were thinking about, hey, where could the price of Bcash go when it gets released? Well, like probably many of you, I did have a look at the Ethereum Classic price against Ethereum when it was released, when the fork happened in Ethereum, where we had a new Ethereum Classic coin. And on the Poloniex exchange, at least, once it was released, they had this little run up to 0.3, but then it topped out at 0.5. Exactly at 0.5 actually on Poloniex. And I thought, I think that might be a good point where Bcash may go up to before, you see a really large sell-off. And we did happen to see that. Now, everything I say, take what I say about that with a grain of salt, because I didn't say it publicly. It was in my own heads, and I can't prove it. But it was the thought that I had, and I guess it's real kind of no shit Sherlock kind of thing, because all you need to do again is just look at the price of what happened when Ethereum, a classic, forked from Ethereum, and you could just sort of assume that may do a similar thing, but it did. We at least on the Bittrex exchange, it got up to a price of just under 0.5 at 0.4875 something. So that's what happened with Bcash. Hopefully, some of you did have some Bitcoin on the Bittrex website, and Bittrex were kind enough to, as soon as the fork happened, to turn it into, or to get your Bcash, your BCC. And hopefully you guys did flip at around about this price. But in terms of dollar denominated value, it got up to a price of here, 1,470 roughly. Pardon me. Now, I did have a small amount of Bitcoin. Problem is, it was on my Trezor, and it still is on my Trezor. And unfortunately, Trezor has had some issues, and they have not released Bcash, or BCH as they're calling it, just out of interest. Some markets are calling it BCC and some markets are calling it BCH, because there was a previous coin, or there is another coin called BCC on some of the markets. So anyway, that's by the by. But I didn't get to claim my Bcash just yet, so I have not been able to take part in the selling of my Bcash for some more Bitcoin. But look, it's stuff. It's a coin that I was getting for free anyway. Didn't have to pay for it, so I'm not particularly upset. It's a little bit annoying that Trezor we're having issues, but like they say, they're working on it. There's something in the back end. The back end server is now re-indexing. During this process, all BCH related services are offline, including the claiming tool. So I didn't get to claim it, but look, we'll see where the price is when it does eventually get released to me. Over the long term with Bcash, I think we're not going to see 0.5 for a little while again. I think that's the blow off top, and I think quite possibly it may go the way of Ethereum Classic, where we are with Ethereum Classic right now, after coming off that 0.5, with at a low of around about it's pretty low right now. Where are we? 0.06. So I think pretty soon we're definitely going to see a test here. I mean, look at this. This is a resistance point here. Let me just pop that in so you guys can see it a little bit better. This is a linear chart, not the logarithmic, which normally you can do the logarithmic, but I wanted to show you the peaks and troughs. Very likely Bcash is going to come back to this previous resistance point and a support level of 0.2, and then I think very soon we're probably going to hit around about that kind of 0.1 kind of area. Around about here is where I think we'll sort of settle at. So I think my 0.5 grab is certainly not going to happen, but who knows? Well, we'll see what happens with Bcash. Could it be like Ethereum Classic, the sort of smaller, weaker little cousin of Ethereum, and will Bcash be the same for Bitcoin? Or hell, look, could it go crazy and become number one on CoinMarketCap? You never know, but I kind of don't think it will. That's just my opinion, of course. But we are already at number 3 on CoinMarketCap for Bcash. But more power to it. Let's see where it goes. So I'm going to leave it at that, because my voice is getting more raspy as I go along. I think I'm going to remove a few of these lines. It's getting really a bit ridiculous. But I think soon we're going to blast off through 2980, and then I can get rid of these exponential Fibonacci lines and draw in some new ones. But again, check out 4083 I do see for where I think the price is going very, very soon. All right, gang, I will leave you to it. Thanks very much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay safe, stay informed. Speak soon.